little late than never, but here we are. It's Monday night recap review of the 49ers victory over the much hated Dallas Cowboys. I don't know if it's the same as the old days, but it always feels good to beat the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, it does.
Felt good to go to 4-4 into the bye week. And I mean, at least for now, we have good vibes to give out and good vibes to spread all over YouTube, at least for the next 2 weeks.
Oh,
until
yeah.
we play in Tampa. How was we talked offline about just your overall feeling of last night's game. Care to reshare that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was great until the fourth quarter. I went, I was, in my living room chilling 27-10. I was like, all right, we got this. Easy win. Nope. Fourth quarter comes again. Dak throws to CeeDee Lamb like every single time, and we couldn't cover him. The two guys run into each other. I mean, it was just sloppy in the fourth quarter, but I'll take the win. I'll take any win against Dallas. Fuck Dallas. Like it says right down there.
Yeah, and if you don't like it, you could go put the fries in the bag. Yeah.
Exactly.
I just thought the game played out about as much as all the games have played out this season. Just a lackluster kind of start to the game, and then they found their groove, so to speak. And then they look like a flash of 2023, dominant on both sides of the ball. And then they remembered who they were in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden they resorted to choking away a massive fourth quarter lead. So this is the 2024 Niners, and people are just going to have to, including myself, who has a really hard time keeping his temper in check watching these clowns this year. And I can call them clowns. I still love them. It's been tough. It's hard watching games. I mean, you're up 27-10 and you literally only win by 6. It's just there's problems going on with this team that are kind of like, I feel like it's at every level. I feel like it's coaching. I think players take their foot off the gas. I think coaches take their foot off the gas. I think there's just this like weird, we're snake bitten this year for whatever reason when it comes to leads. I mean, the defense, this is not the same defense that we've had in recent years. They're not, shutting teams out. They gave up a lot of points. They gave up a lot of yards late. They still won the game, and that's what's important. And in the NFL, if it's, you win by 3 or you win by 30, it's still a win. But I kind of disagree with that in some ways, because depending on how you win and you see certain things kind of pop up, it just makes you realize that like this win didn't solve anything. This is the Dallas Cowboys, and we're expected to beat them on a yearly basis. So I was happy and I was kind of relieved, because that means that they still have a shot going into the bye week, and maybe they'll make some moves, and Christian McCaffrey might be on his way back and all this happy stuff. So that was kind of my takeaway from it.
Yeah, we got a lot to look forward to. I mean, Greenlaw's coming back. McCaffrey supposedly is coming back November 10th. So I'm super happy about that, because I'm going to be at the game December 1st. So I will see him.
Oh yeah, you will awesome. You will be in Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean, let's talk about it. Here's I clipped these from the internet today. I think these have to do with the injuries of. Let's see. So my man Sterling Bennett. This was the injury report coming out of last night's game. Jordan Mason's shoulder, as we all know. Did not know about Debo. I know he likes to take himself out of games consistently, kind of like the quarterback from the Colts. I don't know what his deal is. Chris Conley, I did not know about. D. Winters, we saw. And then Renardo Green, that's a big one, is day to day. So, I mean, that's 2 weeks, day to day. I feel like he should be ready to go by the time they play in Tampa. And then right on top of that, you have the returns, according to Kyle. McCaffrey's on track to ramp up this week. Juwan Jennings is expected to return after the bye, and Dre Greenlaw could return at some place as soon as November. So, I mean, like, the Niners are putting themselves in position to control their own destiny, essentially.
Yeah.
The Niners have it all in front of them. They can. They're not winning. Listen. Detroit's going to get the number 1 seed unless they completely melt and just fall off the face of the earth. So that's not going to happen. And there's a bunch of teams that are better than you Interesting to note, though, that Green Bay, I think Jordan Love left yesterday's game with an injury, so that's
Yeah.
some
But Malik Willis is playing out of his mind this year. So
right. And
um,
the way they're playing defense, it doesn't
I
matter who the
think they're playing better with Malik Willis, which is crazy because when he was on the Titans, he was horrible. So it
yeah, it was
just shows
horrible.
you if you have the right team, any quarterback can be good.
Yeah, I agree. They put themselves in a position. Greenlaw, excuse me. I think the one that's kind of under the radar is the Jawan Jennings return.
Yeah.
Now with Ayuk officially, I mean, there was the little video. I didn't download it because it just there wasn't much to it. He just says like he's in the beginning
Yeah.
of it and he's in the stages and blah blah blah. And everybody's kind of wishing him well, and I am too. But I mean, we're talking. We still got some players. I mean,
Yeah.
Debo, man. This is the thing about Debo that drives me insane is that like they need him.
Yeah.
We need him really badly, and it's just he is who he is, and that is a guy that
But there's
consistently is injured.
obviously something going on because I mean they said, he's still got the bugs still with the pneumonia. Pneumonia just doesn't go away. So he wasn't 100%, but geez, that one drop he had, that screen pass, that would have been at least 20 yards right there because the blockers were all on their guy, and it would have been a perfect play if he would have caught that. But it is like that, Aaron. He's always out consistently. I wish, like I said earlier in the season, I thought he was going to have a good season
I think a
because,
lot of us did because he was
yeah,
in shape and he came in
yeah,
and he was healthy, and that's not to be. I mean,
no,
he is what he is. I think it's important to have him back, but it's more important to have Juwan Jennings back because we have the two youngsters on this team, namely Parasol and now even possibly Cowen, not to be confused with James. He's getting a chance to play. I'm just, I mean, if Juwan Jennings to me is the guy that gets the first downs, he's the guy you go to in crunch situations.
yep,
Debo really would be to me. He's at least for this year. He's needed. We need to have that. And he's to round off that receiver room.
mm-hmm.
He's this to me when I was watching. Okay, I've had some concerns about this team for a couple seasons and complaints, pretty big complaints. And I've had my time where I've kind of gone after Kittle and this and this and that. I am taking back anything I ever said about that man
Yep.
because the
Like
more
I
and more I
said,
watch him and the more I doubt him, the better and better he plays.
mhm.
So, I mean, if you're looking in the future and you're looking at, people talked about if we lose, should this team start trimming some fat, getting rid of players, moving on from some guys. The one guy, maybe not now, but is by season's end. One of the guys that I think the Niners need to consider moving on if they can afford to is Deebo Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's played, his time here has been much appreciated. He's done some good things, but it just he can't stay healthy, and there's younger guys on this roster that are trying to take his place. And I think Ayuk, if he comes back next year, it's late in the season maybe, but he's going to be back on this roster at some point. And so the young guys making plays and doing well for themselves the second half of the season, I think, is going to do a lot to make the Niners or at least do a lot to determine what they're going to do with Debo. I just think Debo's seen his days
Yeah.
as a 49ers, and I think they're coming to an
Mm-hmm.
end. Anybody who watches it, it's not even me being critical. Anybody in this chat who's watched Debo, he's hurt all the time. He's always hurt. He does great things when he's in the lineup. Fact of the matter is, no matter what offseason he has, no matter what training he does, no matter what videos they post in the offseason with him, it's the same old, same old. So
He'd be a good
um,
slot guy on a team, another team. I think that
yeah,
doesn't
a
use
team that
him.
doesn't,
Yeah,
he's not a
doesn't
number
use
one
him.
guy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's perfect on a slant. He can go all the way down the field on a small pass. But I agree. He's pretty much done with us.
I just don't see it. And people are like, oh, you're so critical of him and blah, 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 blah. And I know JD, that's why I said if they are able to afford it. I know that he did sign something, but you know how the NFL contracts are, man. They're not worth the paper that they're written on, which is
Yeah.
funny because Tommy Huxley, what's up, Tommy, by the way? He says Nick Sorensen is Wonder Bread. It's basically paper. That's how the 49ers defense folds in the fourth
Hmm.
quarter. Yeah. I mean, you can blame so many people, Tommy. You can blame the defensive coordinator. You got to blame the players too, because I think the players, if you watch that game last night, there's a lot of confusion on the field. A lot of movement before the snap. There's a lot of talking. There's a lot of pointing
Yeah.
and stuff. And it's like, what is going on with these guys? They brought in Sorensen because he was quote unquote an inside guy, right? Because God forbid you bring somebody from the outside and you make these millionaires have to play under a different defense coordinator that they don't know the system to.
Yeah.
I mean, goodness gracious, like some of these, I was screaming at the television, like, get line up, like what is going on? So yeah, there's many people to blame with that.
Yeah, I mean, we last year. Here's the difference between this year and last year. Last year, it would have stayed, 27-10 or 30-10. But that fourth quarter, I don't know what their problem is with that fourth quarter because the defense was great in the first half. I mean, even though we were down 10-6, I saw Campbell even making tackles, and I was
Right.
surprised, and
Yeah.
I was like, all right, well, we're down, but I feel good about our defense. They're doing pretty good,
Right.
Bosa got a sack.
I kind of got lured back into
Yeah.
2023.
But it's
Yeah.
like that fourth quarter comes, and then the guys just you take the foot off the gas and they give up. And I'm like, come on, like
I
it's not
really,
over
really
yet.
I really, really think that this team, which is crazy because they've had issues closing in the past,
Hmm.
and that's like their big thing. The Niners, they're the team that doesn't close. They allow teams to stick around, and then eventually they come back and win. Right? The
Yeah.
Super Bowls with the Chiefs, same old, same old. And we've seen it all year, but like it started like the last night the score was so huge, the gap, that I
Hmm.
allowed myself to kind of be lured back into that sense of security.
Yeah.
And man, were we
We were wrong,
dude,
wrong, wrong.
Purdy started melting down. Everybody started
Uh-huh.
melting down in this game. It was like anything and everything that could happen happened in this game. And good that they were able to stem the tide, as they would say, and they were able to hold on to the victory. Um,
But how
coming out
about
of the
Kittle on
How
National
about
Tight
Kittle,
Ends Day?
National Tight End
Tight
Day?
Ends Day,
Listen,
he blew it out of the water.
Kittle
He
had
just killed it.
6 receptions for 128 yards and a touchdown.
My favorite player.
He's starting to come back to be my favorite player on this team because
Yeah.
you could tell that he was giving extra effort yesterday.
Dude,
The way
he
he broke
just
away on that
oh,
almost touchdown down the sideline was
I wish he
that
got that. I wish he
yeah.
got that. I was
I
so
just think
hoping he
the
got that.
effort needs to be. I think the effort needs to, and the team needs to be at the same level as Kittle's for sure.
Yeah. And he's number 5 right now on receptions in our franchise, which is
Yeah,
unbelievable because he's a tight end.
you look at Jerry Rice and his numbers are like
Yeah.
it's never going to be
1,200.
reached.
Nobody's going to reach that.
I was watching the game and I get really serious watching games, and when they brought up that graphic, I was just like, "Geez, Jerry,
Yeah.
why you got to do everybody like that? Why are you, why are you like so far ahead of the next guy?"
Yep.
Nathan Banks, sorry, I called you Brooks. He says another huge problem is penalties. They had a ton of yards and TDs called. Yeah,
Yep.
again, veteran team with veteran
Holding.
players.
A lot of holding.
A
A
lot
lot
of
of holding.
holdings.
Yeah.
And it's the same cast of characters. Bosa. Um, I don't know if Brendel got called for a penalty in this game, but I wouldn't be surprised. Uh, Trent Williams, I think, was a little early on one play. It was just
Yep.
like it feels like when they start to unravel this team, they start to unravel everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the offense or the defense. I mean, it's like penalties, special teams gaffes, just everything. Anything and everything happens when they start to unravel, and I do not understand. Like we talk about teams that have a huge, this huge, like you have all these team leaders and you have all these guys that you have in your team that make a lot of money, and I've never seen, at least recently, just guys gathered on the sideline listen to say like Fred Warner or Bosa or somebody and being like, listen, we got to tighten this up and
Yeah.
let's get it, and no more penalties, and everybody play their, play their techniques and all that other stuff. I don't see that. Like this, there was a fight with Seattle in the Bills game last night, and
Yeah.
I commented on Facebook to the person because he's a Niners fan. I says, I wouldn't mind seeing that on the Niners sideline once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
People throwing hands, people getting pissed.
Shows they care. It
Shows
shows
that
they
they give
want
a
to.
damn. There's a
Yeah.
little bit of frustration. It doesn't. It's not always constructive to be angry and to do and break stuff and have arguments and fights with your teammates. But I think it's for the better sometimes to let that stuff out and be like, hey, this is a big problem. We got to fix it if we want to go to where we want to go this year. And there's just too much of this like lackadaisical way about things. And then you listen to like Fred Warner in the post game, and it's just the same old repetitive, regurgitated. We got to do better. We got to finish. Blah blah blah. And it's like,
Yeah.
if you know all the answers, why
Then
don't you
do
just
it.
go out there and do it instead of
Yeah.
talking about it every single week?
Yeah.
About we just got to do this. We got to finish games. Well, then go out and finish games.
Yeah.
Stop committing stupid penalties. Get your defense where it needs to be in position. Get your guys lined up. You're the leader of this defense. There's a lot of pointing, a lot of moving, and like they were saying, the penalties too. Like
I don't know if
this
you heard
team,
too. Yeah, the penalties are crazy.
this team needs so much just to be able to make it into the playoffs. Like they can't fail
No.
anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see this penalties and just mistakes and gaffes and all this other stuff, it's like, man, they'll get, they go against a team like Detroit. I mean, it's going to be a boat race, right? They're going to get killed.
Yeah.
So, but the great thing is there's more games to play, and the Niners are going up against some opponents that they should beat in the next couple weeks. I mean, we got Tampa, Seattle,
horrible defense,
Green Bay,
horrible defense.
And then we go in, we play in Buffalo, which is like an hour or something from me.
That's going to be the game right there.
That game will determine a lot of things for me, because if the Niners can squeak that game out, then
in Buffalo,
that would be a huge win. I don't think they're going to.
I don't either at this point, but with the guys returning, maybe.
Possibly. Yeah. If you're getting Greenlaw back and you have McCaffrey, Juwan Jennings comes back, and you get some of those defensive guys like Renardo Green and everybody back, then there's definitely a chance that I think they could do it. To me, it's the same thing we always deal with Kyler Murray. It's the quarterback that can move. The Niners just don't. The Niners are the only team in the NFL, or one of the only teams in the NFL I see that they say that they know what they're doing. We know we just got to make some changes and stay with our this and do that. And every time they get a mobile quarterback, their rush integrity is horrible. They don't know how to rush the passer properly. They over pursue, all that other stuff, and it's always massive gaping gains all the time. So going up against Josh Allen, he ain't Kyler Murray. Like if you don't tackle him, he will score. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I don't know if you heard too, the rumors about DeForest Buckner and Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah,
but Kendrick Bourne, no. DeForest Buckner, I will still take, even though he's getting old. I would take him because he's gonna play for us because he was a Niner, and when he was a Niner, that he was unbelievable. So I would take Buckner. I don't know how we would get him because I think he has a big contract too. But if we could get something in that middle of the line, I mean, Bosa's the only one showing up on that whole line.
I feel like he solves a couple things. He solves.
Where's Leonard Floyd at? Like Leonard Floyd hasn't done anything.
No. J.D. Durham says they're totally unprepared this year, and all the injuries weren't good, and all the contract stuff. Yeah. This whole team, this team's the way their off season went. It was a making of a really bad season with a lot of problems, and sure enough, they've definitely filled. They definitely that's came to pass with the way things have gone so far this year. But crazy thing is they're 4-4. They're a 3-way tie for the West, and everything they need to do is right in front of them. They just got to go do it. Do they do it? We don't know.
What's crazy is our division is actually not that bad, because if you look at some other divisions, like Buffalo Bills division, they are first by a mile. You look at I think it's the North. You got Vikings who are good. You got Detroit. That's probably the best division right there, and Bears. But our
Rams.
division is all 500, which is actually better than a lot of divisions, which is crazy. So we're lucky to still be in it.
Yeah.
And seeing Seattle get wiped by the Bills is great because we can easily beat Seattle. We've shown that, but
It just helps with tiebreakers. If we go
yeah,
into Buffalo and we beat them and all that
yeah,
stuff, down the road, that's all going to help.
yeah,
Tommy Huxley thinks it's a good thing that Hargrave's injured because he can't stop the run. I'm not happy that he's injured, but when it comes to the not stopping the run part, you are 100% correct.
yeah. I'd
Um,
still rather have him though. I mean,
the way DeForest
gotta have
Buckner would
something.
do is he would help the interior. He would help with some interior pass rush,
Yeah,
which would help Bosa because I think Bosa's been kind of like a one man wrecking crew out there.
yeah.
And other guys have kind of stepped up. Number 91, I can't say his name, so don't ask me to. But he's played pretty well. And like some of the defensive guys, like Malik Collins hasn't been too bad this year. So, hey, listen, they won yesterday. They're in a position that they can take care of their own, destiny and give themselves a chance to be in the playoffs. And once you're in the playoffs, it's anybody's game. It's a tournament. Look at us last
Tampa,
year. We were the number one seed, and we tried to give away that number one seed last year.
yeah, and Tampa should be an easy win. Should be. Yeah, Buck. I agree, Tommy. Buck is not great against the run, but he is a force in the middle. He's a guy that offenses have
Johnny,
to look at.
we need help rushing the passer.
We need
So
somebody,
yeah,
somebody in the middle. But yeah, Tampa should be an easy win. Their defense is probably the worst in the NFL.
you
I
say
mean,
that, and you get me comfort thinking
I
like, oh, we're
know,
gonna
but
go into
like
Tampa, and then they just
they're so bad because the first game against Atlanta, I watched it and it was just back and forth scoring. And I think it was like, I forgot, 41-38 Atlanta. And then they just
yeah.
lost again in a high scoring game. So I'm not worried about our offense in that game, but our defense needs to put pressure on, uh, I'm blanking on his
Baker
name, Baker
Mayfield. Yep.
Mayfield. And we always do because Bosa hates his guts. So I'm hoping Bosa still has that hate, even though it's been a while since college. When Baker Mayfield threw the O threw the flag in the
Flag.
O. So we'll see.
JD Durham says they have to beat one of these teams: Packers, Bills, Lions, or Rams on a short week.
Yep.
I feel like the only team I can say that they might not be able to beat this year is the Lions. The Lions.
Are
I said this.
unbelievable.
I said this on Twitter yesterday or X. The Lions are the best. They're the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's not even close. They're the most complete team, and they can do it a bunch of different ways. And they don't even have their number one pass rusher, and they're still killing teams and blowing teams out, and teams don't have a shot.
Yeah.
So, but that's a whole other thing. They're going to be the number one seed, and the pressure is going to be on them. It's not going to be on the Niners this year. And I don't know if maybe that's me trying to think of some reverse psychology thing, but like the Niners are not going to have all the pressure on this year because they're not one of the best teams, in the top of the, when you look at the playoff standings.
Yeah.
Nobody's thinking about the Niners right now, including a lot of the fans, which is okay. There's not there's no guarantee they make the playoffs, and that may right there might give them an opportunity to sneak in and beat a really good team, but it's so far away from that still. We still have a bunch of games and all that stuff. We have guys to come back from injuries. My question to you is, are the Niners buyers at the trade deadline? They've kind of downplayed making a move for wide receiver. But could you see them maybe making a move? And if they do, what position group do you think they should make the move for? I know you already said DeForest Buckner. I'm going more. Jeez, I'm either going the receiver and like edge, or I'm going maybe linebacker to help with
Yeah.
Fred Warner in the linebacking core because they lost D Winters now with a concussion, so we don't know how long that's going to be.
I think like I said, defensive tackle I think is a must because if you look at that game last night, I mean, for God's sakes, they had Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook, who should not be getting 6 or 7 yards up the middle against us, and they were. So we need a huge guy. Like I even told this to Bills fans when they whined about letting rush yards. You need a huge guy in the middle. He doesn't have to be great. He doesn't have to be athletic.
Someone who
You
just eats
just
up
need
space.
a big, fat, giant blob of guy to stop the run, and that's all we need. Like I've been saying this for like 5 years straight with the Niners and the Bills. I'm like telling all my Bills fans, you guys need to get a fat guy. That's it. You need a big guy, and
Yeah,
that's
you're
all
too
we
late.
need. But
Too late.
linebacker too. I agree with you on that. We need a linebacker because Campbell, yeah, he played better than usual last night, but we need another guy who's gonna get that that's going to have that patience like Warner does, where he can wait and just heat-seeking missile a player, and we don't have that anymore because we don't have Greenlaw.
But what about
And
Aziz Al-Shaair that we let go a couple
yeah,
years ago?
I'd
He
be
was really good.
I'd be down for that.
Okay, fat guy in a little coat. Niners need some weight in their ass at
Yeah,
defensive tackle. I don't think they make a move on linebacker. I don't think they make a move at
probably
wide
not.
receiver.
Yeah,
The place I think they're going to make a move, and you guys guessed it, is they're probably going to go for an edge guy.
yeah,
It's
they
not
always
that
do.
big of a surprise. That's
They
what we
always do.
always do.
Yeah.
D tackle maybe. I just don't think DeForest. There's no way. That
Well,
would be awesome if
last
D
night,
Buck. Go
I
ahead.
mean, last night they were talking to John Lynch after the game, and I think it was Rodney Harrison talked about it to him. He's like, "Hey, like, what do you think you need to get more players?" And or I think he was just like giving him dap, basically, like saying, it's great you make a team good even if you don't make trades or you keep them together. And it didn't give any hints, which I wish it would have,
They've been
because
getting a lot of great football with their rookies this year.
yeah, I mean that's all they need.
Parasol Parasol is playing good so far. He had a decent night last night. He had 4 receptions, 38 yards, and 1 rush for 39 yards.
Yeah,
That kid, they're working him in slowly. They're not really overwhelming him too much. But I think he has a chance to be something special. You got
yeah,
Isaac Garendo played really, really well
yeah,
last night. He's starting to kind of like become more than just a guy who slams into the line for 5 yards. He's
yep,
starting to kind of hit some home run shots. He's like a lot of people compare him, and he's not as fast, but they kind of compare him of like Raheem Mostert, but with some size, some
yep.
girth.
Hmm.
I think he has surprised me a lot because I had a lot of hopes for him, and then he kind of fell off for a bit, and now he's played really well. And then with McCaffrey coming back, did Tommy Huxley thinks that running back might be a move. That is something interesting. I mean, he wouldn't be a starter. He would be definitely like a depth piece running back.
Yeah,
But that is definitely a position. I like running back edge, running back D tackle. I just don't see them making a move at wide receiver, especially with if Juwan Jennings is coming back and we're having the emergence of these young guys. But I could be wrong.
I don't know
John
who
Lynch is
they get
showing
on the
him
edge
anyway.
though. I don't know who they get on the edge though. What do you think?
I have no idea. I don't even know who's out there. I know that the
Yeah,
Chiefs made a move at edge as if they need more help on defense.
yeah,
So the Chiefs are getting better. They got Hopkins early last week, wide
mhm,
receiver. And again, not surprised. They're sick, they're unbeaten. No one has beat them yet. They're very beatable for an unbeaten team, but
mhm,
they haven't been beat yet. So I mean, it's who from the NFC, if it's not the Niners, is going to be the team that's going to stop them? Is it going to be Detroit?
yeah,
Who's it going to be? I think Detroit to me. If you had to put money down and you were a betting man, who would be in the Super Bowl this year? And this is not me being anti-Niners. I think it's going to be the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs.
yep,
And a lot of people told me, they're like, Aaron, you better watch out with that though, because Jared Goff is still the quarterback, and if what's his name gets his hands on him, the defensive coordinator for the for the Chiefs. He might not have a great game, and the Chiefs might win another Super Bowl. So, like, they're telling me, like, be careful of wishing too much for the Lions because Jared Goff is still their quarterback. But I don't know. We'll see.
Hey, Jared Goff's a hell of a quarterback, though. He's been good
Chris
since
Conley
Beckton
was another
Rams.
guy that got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Conley hasn't shown up much this year, but he's still a good wide receiver. We need a
He's
guy
a
like that
veteran.
too.
He's a veteran guy. He's going to give
Yeah,
you 1 or 2 catches every 3 games,
yeah,
maybe a big playoff catch. But he's, I don't know. The Niners have a lot of things they got to fix on offense. I need Brock Purdy. I mean, if you look at his stat line yesterday, um, he was 18 of 26 for 260 yards and a touchdown. I thought Brock Purdy played pretty inconsistent again.
yeah,
Um, it's weird though. It's like I don't lack confidence in him like I did with Jimmy. I just think he's kind of having a down year because the rest of the team is having a down year.
yeah,
The offensive line at times looks good, and then at other times he's getting blasted. Now you got guys dropping passes. He's throwing behind guys, like he's throwing high, he's throwing behind. So he's got to clean his stuff up too. It's like everybody's going through some sort of something where they're not playing well. And Purdy is not uh, perfect. He's dealing with all the same stuff that everybody else is. But we all thought that was going to be the case. I mean, coming off of last year, he played so well. I mean, he played so well, helping us come back in those playoff games. He actually played decent in the Super Bowl too. Um, to think that he wasn't maybe going to have a little bit of a regression this year, I think was kind of foolish. And still, he's
yeah,
playing. He still has a ton of his passing yards wise. He's still doing pretty good this year. So
yeah,
a lot of people are overreacting with Purdy, saying that they need to go and you know tank this thing and reboot everything from scratch, get a new quarterback. And I don't agree with that.
no, no. He's gonna have a down year after losing the Super Bowl. I mean, come on, it's inevitable. Plus, he had a perfect season last year. I mean, it was the perfect
He
season.
he played incredible last year. The only thing that would have made it better is winning a Super Bowl. Steve O'No says, "Hey Aaron, good to see you, man. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing okay. Doing okay. I'd be better if the Niners had a better record and stuff, but we know one thing at a time." Um, says like and subscribe, everyone. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thoughts
thank
on
you.
Ricky Pearsall and the rookie class? I think the rookie class. I kind of touched on it a little bit. This rookie class is awesome, bro. Like
Yeah,
even Tatum Bethune has had some run. The only one who really hasn't done anything is Kingston, the offensive lineman. I don't know if he's hurt this year. I forgot
yeah.
exactly what's going on with
I haven't
Kingston.
heard anything about him.
But I mean, you look at this class, guys. I had the picture on my phone. I should have uploaded it to StreamYard, but it was like Garendo, Pearsall, Dominic Pooney,
Nardo
Malik
Green.
Mustafa, Bernardo Green. Guys, it's crazy.
Yeah, probably
All
the
this
best
talk
draft
about
class.
it's probably one of the best ones we've had personally in a long time.
Yeah.
Kingston went to Carolina. That's right. Didn't he go?
Ah,
Okay, so one guy. Still, is he doing okay? We have to check up on him in Carolina. Yeah. Steve O'No says, I know. Yeah. I love what I'm seeing so far. They cooked this class. Yeah. Everybody was
mhm.
saying without Adam Peters, including myself, you were wondering what kind of draft we were going to have, and done pretty well for themselves. The season still has a way to go, so guys might have some peaks and valleys here. But when you talk about paying quarterbacks and what it's going to do to the rest of the roster, and how you got to move on from guys to save money, so far so good on this class. I mean,
Yeah.
if Renardo Green continues to ascend as a player, you can say goodbye to Charvarius Ward after the season,
Oh
and
yeah.
he can go wherever he wants to go. Demo needs to get paid. If anybody's going to get paid, it's going to be Diamondor Lenore.
Yeah.
Maybe Banks moves on. And maybe, like I've said before, if Pearsall and Cowen continue to shine, do you move on from Debo? A lot of people have told me that that's kind of not possible because of his cap hit. So he might be able to stick around. But I mean, so far, like you said, Steve-O's so good.
Yeah, and Pearsall played great yesterday. I mean, uh, he had a few catches, and they all looked like good catches, And I knew this guy had hands because I watched his highlights in Florida. I mean, he had the catch of the year last year or the year before, I can't remember, in Florida, and I knew he was going to be a good catcher. But man, he's looking like he could be like that shifty little wide receiver that we need. That guy that just makes good
When
quick
I
plays.
right, like I think of him, I think of Puka, I think of
Yeah,
Cooper Cup. Not saying he's going to be those guys, but like when I think of like who he reminds me of somewhat, then those guys got to come to mind. But he's just starting. I feel like the more cohesion that he has with Brock, and the more that him and Brock play together, I think it's better for Brock. Brock made it. Some of man, I don't know. Brock throws some of them yesterday just did not have anything on them. One of them was the out throw. They ran an out pattern to Pearsall, and he threw it before Pearsall turned, which is
yeah.
awesome because he's starting to trust him. But if that ball is up higher and has a little bit more to it, he could have turned that upfield. But everybody needs to improve. I think Purdy's having, like you said, he's having a down year. He's struggling a little bit, but
And the pump
he's also
fake. The
yeah.
pump fake.
What's
I
with the
don't know
pump
what's
fake?
going on. He like throws it too hard. It's like, bro, it's just a pump fake. All you got to do is this. Like, you don't need to
He's got to go
like
to the Joe
throw it.
Montana school of pump fakes. Montana
Yeah.
had the best pump fake out there.
Oh yeah, by far.
Nathan Brooks says Brock finished. This is without any of the penalties. He said finished with 316 yards, 2 Ds, and 0 turnovers. The 65-yard TD to Debo called back, and the screen he dropped would have been 400. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, easily.
The 49ers, if they could just play a clean game, like we can get one of those, ass kickings that they've put on people in the past.
Yep.
I just, it's like every week it's who's gonna drop the ball. Is it gonna be the defense? Is it gonna be offense? Is it gonna be both? Special teams, like
Can't
I
have a
feel like
perfect game.
yesterday special teams played a lot better than they have in the
Yep.
past, but like the offense and defense at different times in this game, we're trying to give this game back. So it's like it's insane. Like every week it's like a different phase of this team finds a way to try to
I was
almost screw
happy
the
about
pooch.
special teams though. Oh my God. Turpin is one of the best returners in the league, and every time he got the ball, I was just like, please
We
God,
did have one oops
please don't
when he
run.
kicked it out of bounds
Yeah,
and they got the ball at the 40. That was the one thing that I was
that
like,
was the
really?
one. Yeah,
Yeah, we couldn't have that one thing happen on special teams.
I
It
know.
couldn't be a clean game.
Yep.
Um trying to look at here. Um I'm going to bring this up because it happened yesterday. I am not trying to cause a political divide or really talk politics, but the MAGA hat, they
Mhm.
blurted out or they turned on the contrast or something, Bosa with that whole thing. And there's a lot of people online who have different political views. And I just think everybody needs to relax and remember that we live in America and everybody has the freedom to express what they want,
Yep.
regardless of what side you're on. And I could care less because I don't vote because I believe corruption is everywhere in the world. Um, that has caused so much. I wish he wouldn't have done it.
I
Like
know.
he did it. He must have gotten talked to because then when they tried to ask him about it in the post game press conference, he had nothing to say. So it's like, why do it?
Yeah, it's a
Everybody
point.
knows
Pointless.
you are what you are and what you said in the past, and everybody's saying your teammates should whoop your ass and stuff because of your views. But I
It's
feel like it is what it is.
stupid. He's probably gonna get fined, and like it just puts a bad light on us because now it's gonna be this huge thing. Um, when really we should be all focusing on football.
Yeah,
It's
to do it was pointless. They got a lot of other issues on this team and things to worry about than that. And him doing that was just added something else that they didn't need to worry about on their plate. Steve-O says all three phases haven't looked good together this year. I still think Kyle is too much on his plate calling plays and being head coach, and it's hurting us. I made a comment, Steve-O, and on Twitter last night. I said, I mean, his head is consistently buried in
yeah.
that play sheet. He doesn't look up even when guys are hurt.
Mm-hmm.
That pisses me off. Like, I don't think he'll ever give away play calling to somebody else. So y'all can
Yeah,
forget that.
no way.
Kyle's never.
No
Kyle
way.
will quit. Kyle will quit.
Yeah.
But you're right, man. It's just like sometimes I watch Kyle and I'm like, dude, are you in touch with everything else that's going on here? When the defense has a lapse or something happens on special teams, he gets all red in the face when Brock makes a bad read or Brock does something stupid. He's always quick to go after his quarterbacks. He did it with Jimmy too. But like, I would love to see him rip into the defense or rip into special teams
Yeah.
about, not finishing plays or, not putting your best effort out there. But Steve was right. It's like he's so immersed in that play sheet, man. It drives me insane.
One coach on our team that hasn't been appreciated, and the guys, Rodney Harrison and all the guys we're talking to John Lynch about, was our running backs coach. And he is got to be the best running back coach I've ever seen.
Bobby Turner?
Bobby Turner, because think about it. Look how many running backs we've went through in the last, I don't know, 5 years, and all of them have been good. Jeff Wilson, even. I mean,
Somebody
Jeff
said that to me at
Wilson,
work today. They're like, does it even matter
everybody.
who you have at running back? I'm like,
It
I don't
doesn't.
know. Maybe not.
It doesn't. You know, Grendo. I mean, all these guys are just turning up.
But that's cool though. That means that like that's the great thing about Kyle's offense, and you applaud him for it.
Yeah.
But then there's other things that you're just like, ugh, like
Yeah.
the fact that they don't ever invest in offensive line.
Yeah.
They're so worried about their skill position players and their skill position players. It's like, yeah, but you could probably get more to your skill position players if your offensive line wasn't always so porous. But Steve-O says absolutely being a good OC in the NFL is one of the hardest things you don't need to be distracted with head coach responsibilities. I mean, unless they go the route of Bill Walsh when they took away his GM responsibilities and just told them to coach the team in '88, and they finally won the Super Bowl. Then that would, I mean, if that was the case and that's what the turnout was, then yeah, I'd say that. But any changes that are going to be made that the Niners might make aren't going to be made till the offseason. They asked about special teams to Kyle, and it seems because the Niners won, Kyle thought he did a great job. I think he's done a horrendous job, but that's just the way they run things here. I feel like if they're going to make a move, it's going to be at the end of the season. And I always get the feeling with Kyle, it's all about us as the media or fans don't know what the hell we're talking about. We don't know what goes into things. And so we just shut up and not make any comments, especially when it comes to special teams. I disagree. I think that's been horrendous this year. And I think if they don't do something about it or they don't address it, when we need a game down the line, like say in Detroit or in Green Bay or something, and we make one of those special teams gaffes and we lose a game, then all of a sudden it's going to matter. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It matters. I mean, one big play and that's a touchdown, any team can get. I don't know why they don't care about that, but
It's
it's the Niners way, I guess. I don't know.
It's just I feel like at every point in this season, something has gone wrong from each side of the ball, whether, like I said, offense, defense, special teams. Special teams has been the most glaring problem.
No.
Although this kicker that we have right now, I forgot his name. That's
Carlson.
He's given spot duty to the other dude that replaced Moody. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah.
He got let go from Green Bay last year because he missed a bunch of extra points. I don't know, guys. Do we have a kicker controversy when Moody comes back?
I don't know, because when we first got him, I was like, oh no, because I watched him kick on the Raiders and the Vikings. The Raiders, he was horrible. I mean, this guy was horrible. He missed a ton of field goals, extra points, and then he went to the Vikings, same thing. So I don't know what happened, but now he's good. But I don't know. Like, I feel like Moody isn't a great kicker, but at the same time, he's young, so we can develop him. But I don't know. Like, the second guy, I forgot his name, but he looked, I don't know. To me, the second guy was like the guy, but
Anders Carlson?
Yeah. No, the other one. I don't know what his name was.
The first one that we brought in, he could probably Hey, listen, man,
We're on
I'm
our
all
third
for,
kicker.
we are on our third kicker because
Our
our special
third
teams
kicker.
doesn't know how to
I
tackle.
mean, that is a joke.
Steve-O says that the Niners will not do anything in season. Kyle's stuck in his ways, but I just think some help would be good, but I doubt he will. Yeah, Matthew
Yeah.
Wright. Yeah, that's the other guy here. I hate talking about special
Matthew
teams.
Wright. Yep. Matthew Wright.
I hate talking about special teams, guys. It's so boring and unnecessary, but it becomes necessary. Looking around the league, well, yesterday, bad look for Richardson, the quarterback of the Colts, taking himself out of the game. I don't know if you guys saw my tweet. I said he pulled a Debo. You know, me, I have issues with Debo constantly yanking himself from games all the time. Everyone's like, oh, he was hurt yesterday. I'm like, yeah, but he does it all the time. Like everybody else stays on the field but Debo. And then when the kicker from or the quarterback from the Colts did it yesterday, I guess he got talked to by his head coach. Bro took himself out on a third down, bro. Like who does that?
I don't know. That's ridiculous. I forgot who it was, but I saw a player. I think it might have been on the Cowboys or some team. He was out of the game because of an illness. And it's like they didn't say anything about it, but I'm like, bro, like you can't just not go to a game because you have a cold or something. Like I get it with Debo, he had pneumonia, that's serious. But like if you have a freaking cold, toughen up and go to the game. Like come on, you know? The NFL is so weak compared to what it used to be. It's crazy. Like
Imagine back in the old days, you're playing with Ronnie Lott, and Ronnie's like, what's going on? Why are you in street clothes? I have a cold. And he's like, dude, I ripped my pinky off. I
yeah, come
literally
on.
cut my pinky off to play.
Yeah.
And you got the sniffles.
What a
We live in a
freaking
different era, man.
bag
These
of
cats
crap.
make all this money, man. Like they don't have any onus to play. Like it doesn't matter to them.
It
You
is
know, you
weak
play,
sauce.
don't play. It's totally weak sauce.
Oh my
This is how you know you gotten old is when you start talking about player toughness.
yeah.
For anybody in the chat who's my age, around mid 40s, you know, like we're getting to that complaining grandpa stage where I complain about people walking on my lawn.
I'm
I'm
at
the same with
33
like,
and I'm already there.
that's just rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about the guy in the Commanders game. Um, not on the other team. I forget who they were playing yesterday, the Commanders.
Bears.
And the Bears, dude's chit-chatting with the fans on a Hail Mary, and then he ends up being the one that tips it back
Tips
and
it
tips
to
it
the
right
guy.
into the guy's hands.
That is instant karma. Instant karma.
If that was a 49ers player and they didn't cut that guy immediately, I would
Oh,
protest watching football games.
that guy better lock his mailbox and not let any mail get in because he's going to get so much hate
You better
mail.
be careful that someone doesn't poop in his locker or something like they did back in like the WWE back in the day.
Yeah.
Like if you have a bag or something or somebody
Yep.
has like a briefcase or whatever that they're Halliburton or whatever they call it carrying around, that someone doesn't drop a big hairy deuce in that thing because something like that needs to get you punched in the face. Like if I was
Yeah.
a teammate of that guy and I saw that, we're fighting.
Yeah.
But that again, we're old guys and we don't know what we're talking about. Nathan Banks says, love Debo. We talked about this earlier, Nathan, by the way, but I don't know if you were here, but he says, I love Debo, but it's time to move on from him in the near future. He can't keep having this stuff happen. Yeah, I just think for the amount of money we're paying him, he's just so in and out of the lineup all the time. I know, and I watch him play in games. He just seems always, I don't know, disengaged, like taking himself out of games all the time. I don't understand that. I've never seen that before in professional football. The amount I've seen it with Debo. I mean, if you guys watch games, he does it all the time.
I think he's just beat up. I don't think he's disengaged. I think he's just beat up and he's like freaking tired probably. Like
He's
the
pacing
guy
himself. I don't know.
6 years has just been, 6, 7 years has been
Nobody
just
asked him to play that way,
annihilated.
though.
Yeah, but I mean, you gotta toughen it out sometime, Debo. It's like we're playing football.
This isn't ballet. JD Durham says maybe they give him one more year because after that he's going to retire. Do you have inside knowledge? No, I'm just kidding.
I know. What?
What? He's retiring.
This
He's too young to
he's
retire.
gonna
But yeah,
retire.
you're right though. He's beat his body to hell over the recent years. Same with Kittle. Dude, I was so hard on Kittle in previous years, and I feel like such a fool.
I told you, Aaron. Told you, the guy is a beast.
He played the way he ran that when he got that catch that took him down the left sideline where he almost scored, the way he was able, even in his beat up state in his 8th or 9th year, however long he's been in the league, to separate from those guys and almost score. That was like Kittle from like early on, when he first got
Yeah.
into the league.
And that route he ran that they analyzed, he did the toughest turn. Oop, there goes my camera. He did the toughest turn that I've seen a tight end do in a long time. Like, it was going back to the Tony Gonzalez days. He just went boop, just like right over, and the guy couldn't even keep up with him. It
Yeah,
wasn't even speed.
he changed direction.
Yeah,
Uh,
unbelievable.
he says no, he got the bag already. Yeah, seems like half our team. Hey, I have my concerns about guys like Trent Williams and stuff, like who's gotten the bag. Trent hasn't been great this year. He gave up that massive. It was either him or Aaron Banks that gave up that sack. Brock got absolutely blasted.
Yeah,
when the game was really close. They were talking about how they were surprised he didn't fumble, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Overshawn
I don't
just
know.
came through like nothing in front of him,
That was bad. It's just we're getting to the point now where some of these guys, I mean, they're nearing the end.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that's a problem you have when you don't make moves in the draft to go draft offensive linemen. So we'll see. If the Niners are doing anything in this trade market, or if they're going to make any moves at the deadline, don't give up any good draft picks. We need to draft the future offensive tackle of the San Francisco 49ers. We need to invest in the offensive line big time in the draft. So please do not give up anything earlier than a 4th round pick. Because we need to make a move at tackle. It's sad that I was thinking like, hey, if we have a bad year, we'll be drafting closer to the top 10 and maybe we can get ourselves, like where teams like reload a little bit. They have a bad year, they miss the playoffs, they go 500, load up in the draft, come back the next year, and they're like 14-2 and stuff. I was kind of letting my mind go there, and it might still go there. But yesterday, I forced myself to stay to myself like, okay, the Niners are still in it, at least for now. And until they're not in it, I'm going to root my ass off. I'm still getting pissed watching games, just like I told you.
Yeah.
Yesterday was the first time we're actually kind of relaxed in the game because we were up so much, just to have them almost choke it away at the end. So,
finally, yeah.
Until this team figures out a way to finish games, and it's funny that we're saying that, and that the players actually go and do it instead of just talking about it. This season is going to be, the way it's going to be. They're going to be a 500 team. Hopefully that's good enough to win the West and get a playoff spot, and then who knows what happens in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So in the tournament, one win, you one win, one loss, or one loss, you go home, and sometimes the better team loses. Sometimes the better team is the team that has nothing to play for, and they're not expected to do anything. So, in a way, in a weird sort of selfish way, I hope the Niners have that kind of year, and they go into the playoffs as an underdog, and then they can kind of go ruin some teams' playoff destiny that's supposedly set in stone, like the Lions. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Well, I think the Lions are so good because they were such a crappy team for years, and they finally got a chance last year, and they know they're a good
They have
team.
a really good coach, and
They
they have a lot
know
of
they
talent.
know they're almost there. They know they're like a Super Bowl team. So that's why I think the Lions are doing so good, because their coach motivates everybody, first of all, and second of all, because they know they can get there. They did it last year. They could have beat us,
They
So
should have beat us.
they have a lot of hope on that team versus us. You know, I don't know if we have hope anymore. I don't see it yet. I don't.
I'm still in the mindset that the 49ers are a team on the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the playoffs, I feel like that's how this season's going to end. But if they come out of the bye week and they can win 3 of these 4 games, that might change things, especially with the way the West has been, where it's been kind of wishy-washy, win,
Yeah.
loss, win, loss, win, loss. I mean, come out, you beat Tampa, you go home and play Seattle, you play Green Bay and then Buffalo. I mean, those are all winnable games. Even Buffalo is a winnable game. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But it would be awesome screw with Buffalo's
Uh,
plans and
uh,
beat them. But that's not going to happen. But I might be wrong.
I
But I
just
might be
I
wrong.
just want to be able to talk crap to everybody here. It'd
Yeah,
be
for
great.
anybody who doesn't know, me and
It'd be great.
James are both from. Well, James is originally from San Francisco, and he lives now on the East Coast in Rochester, New York, like me. So Rochester is about an hour and 10 minutes away from Buffalo. So this is Bill's country. You go to the grocery store, you go to a gas station, you go
Everybody.
anywhere, it's Bill's everything.
Yep.
And it's hard being a Niners fan out here, but I really never have to say anything because it's not like they've won anything, right?
Yeah. And we have the same enemies too. I mean, they hate the Cowboys,
Bills
just
might
like
be done
us.
by then.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know, JD.
I
They
don't
look
know,
they
man. I think
they
this is
got they
their
got a
up
good
year.
quarterback, man. They got a
This is
good
their up
quarterback.
year, man. I think this is the year they're going to be the
But they
best
don't they
they
haven't
can
beat
be.
anybody good yet, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Beat Kansas City, beat Detroit, beat somebody good, and then I'll give you your props. They're kind of they're didn't like they haven't like I said, they haven't really done anything this year. The Niners haven't beat anybody good either.
Yeah.
That's why when I look at the win yesterday, it was like, yeah, we should have done it though, because like they're not that great, Dallas. So
Yeah.
all right, guys. We're gonna get out of here. We'll be back next week. It's the bye week. Well, maybe we'll be back. I don't know.
Yeah.
You could
We'll
always do a
figure it out.
stream during the bye week. We'll figure it out. I will be back tomorrow with Bashar of 49er Minded, hopefully at 10 p.m. Eastern. Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern with Raj from RSF 49ers, and Thursday with Al from 49ers Plus Podcast. Hopefully, you can join for all those streams. Until next time, everybody have a great rest
Peace.
of your Monday night. And I will talk to you guys. We will talk to you guys on the flip side. See ya.
Go Niners.